All right, so the point of these Q&As is for me to give you guys weekly value, and that's simply to raise your level of badass. And what that means is the more shit that we walk through life with, which means baggage, I call them bricks. We collect these bricks over the years. Since you were in embryo, we start collecting these situations, pains, memories. They become anchors, and these anchors, what we do, we create stories around them, and then we hold on to them because we think they're ours, and we have to do life because, I cannot do that because of this pain, the situation, the thing, that trauma, that hurt. So we can't do the future, or we do the future in a very specific way that's based on the shit from the past. But is that truly what we want? And the answer is fuck no. So we think, I'm protecting myself because certain people hurt me. That's not true. It's bullshit. It's something we choose to create, number one, and number two, to hold on to. So these become these bricks, and we hold on to these bricks through the years, through life. And you look at your life today. Look at your life today. How much shit do you carry up here? How much shit do you carry in your chest? How many problems, how many stories, how many things do you focus on that you really don't want to focus on? That's all we're talking about. How much stuff shows up every single day that you wish, fuck, enough. When is that stuff gonna stop? When is that pain gonna go away? And the only way that kind of stuff stops or goes away is by you making a decision that it stops and it goes away. And we don't get rid of things. We cannot get rid of memories, right? Like that thing that happened back when you were 18 years old. We can't change that. We can replace the focus. We can't change the fact that somebody called you a bitch, right? Or a divorce, or you lost a business, or whatever the situation was. We can't change that. What we can change is how we view it. So we can go back and say, well, that thing that happened back then, that was the most amazing time in my life. So we can start building positives around it. So we flip the script. So instead of being this horrible fucking problem that hurts even today, we flip the script, we change how we view it, we change perspective, and we go into gratitude over it. Because what did you learn from that? Because every single one of us, and it's what we do in coaching and boot camps and everything that we work on with clients, we literally start breaking shit down. And we literally go to that thing that's like, oh my God, it was the most horrible thing. Okay, cool, but did any good come out of it? Is there any positive? Well, yeah, if I had to think about it, yeah, this one little thing. Okay, cool, boom, hook. Now we have a positive hook, and we start going in that direction, and all of a sudden it's like, well, fuck, shit, damn, that was the most amazing time of my life, because now I'm here because of that. And we get all excited. So if we start to learn to flip the script on all those bullshit situations in the past, guess what happens? All of a sudden, we get to wake up happy because we're free of that. We're now in gratitude mode. And just like running a marathon, just like becoming a brain surgeon, just like becoming the expert that you're at, an expert, whatever you're an expert in today, it took time to become that expert. Well, this is the same thing. You want to build muscle, it's going to take time. You want to run a marathon, it's going to take time. You want to become an expert at you, it's going to take time, but you got to show up, you got to commit. That's all this is about. This conversation is replacing the bullshit from the past with gratitude, happiness, and obviously growth and understanding what you want for the future. So, bingo bango. It's not about me and it's not about you, it's about us. So just because you feel like, oh, should I ask that question? The answer is yes, because everybody listening, whether you're live or replay, or I take this video and it gets chopped up by a guy in Russia, and I use them for snippets to teach people. So whatever good information comes out of this, it goes out into the world. So my point is, ask fucking questions. That's what this is about. There's no bad question. There's no weak question. Somebody already asked that question. It doesn't matter. There will be a different answer today because I'm a different person today than I was yesterday. And so are you. All right, so Lori had a question. How to continue to keep establishing boundaries without biting the guilt hook. So let's go back to, because we talked about boundaries a couple of Q&As ago. Gosh, darn it. So boundaries are something we create, right? So Lori, you have boundaries, and they could be, for example, like here's a boundary. let's say in a relationship, assuming you become guilty in it could be any kind of relationship. It could be business, it could be a spouse, it could be a parent, child, friendship. It doesn't matter, a relationship between two human beings, right? So one human being says, I have boundaries. Did you say boundaries or standards? Sorry, I gotta go back up. Boundaries. Oh, boundaries, not even standards. Interesting. So boundaries are protective fencing, if you will. Like there's a geofence around me, and boundaries sort of come out of problems that happened in the past. So if somebody calls you a bitch, you will one day either believe the fact that you're a bitch, or you'll say, whoa, hold on a second, I'm not a bitch, so I'm going to now create a boundary to say, yo, you cannot call me a bitch any longer. That's a boundary. And these boundaries, if you stick to them long enough, they'll become standards to where nobody can ever call you a fucking bitch, right? So boundaries are these protective fields that we place around us because, and they could also, boundaries can also come from standards. So they're sort of one and the same. It depends how you use them. It doesn't matter. Your specific question is how to not become guilty by enforcing, I think that's the right word, enforcing your boundary in a relationship or your standard in a relationship. So guilt comes from where? And this is a question for all of you guys really quickly. This guilt, so just think about it for a quick second. This is the homework, this is the work, that we're doing together right now. So when I ask, where does guilt come from? Where does it reside? What is guilt? Because I think once we answer this question, we can say, fuck, well, there's that. It'll just magically disappear. Past experiences. Guilt does not come from past experiences. Guilt is a state. Guilt is a state. God, I feel like my face is like... So guilt, where does it reside in here? And I say in here, I'm giving you guys a clue. So it's a state. Guilt comes from being insecure. Guilt is based in fear. Guilt is that thing that tells me that I'm not good enough, I'm not enough. Regret plays into past, and that's why you're saying past experience. So because of I have regret from the past experience, and now, because I used to be a bitch, now I tell people that I'm not a bitch. Now, will they believe me? And because I used to be a bitch, they have proof that I used to be a bitch. All these freaking things happen in here, and then we show up in a very weak state called guilt. Let's back up, Lori Ray. Let's back this up. What if you were 100% confident in you? What if your confidence level was 100%? Let's say fucking 80%. Let's say your confidence level is 80%. You know who you are. You are confident in you. You are powerful in your own skin. You are content in your own skin, which means self-love, self-respect, self-honor, self-esteem. That's all there. And you're just content, and you're at that place where you don't need anything from anyone. But there are boundaries. Boundaries come from where? They can only come from a place of, hey, hold on a second, I love me, I do respect me. Even though we may not have those conscious thoughts like, oh my God, I have to love me first before I do ABC. It just happens automatically, like, whoa, did you call me a bitch? That's just not allowed. You know, it's like pedophilia. It's like, you know, some people talk about, well, you know, touching a minor is, you know, is okay as long as, I'm like, what the fuck? No. There's a society thing, there's a God thing, there's a human code that says, no, you don't touch a child. Those are boundaries that cannot be crossed. I'm going to a very extreme level for a reason. Coming back to a simplistic reason, simple level for this conversation, everything I'm telling you right now, the self-love, self-esteem, self-power, me, just me time, can that get to a place where I just don't give a fuck? So I guess that's my point. Back to you, Lori, for a quick second. Why would you feel guilt? And of course, we would work on that. We would figure out where the guilt is from, why it's showing up, when does it show up specifically, because it doesn't always show up. I guarantee it. but it shows up with specific people at specific times, specific topics. We would macro dissect this thing to where you would figure out exactly why you're doing it, why it's showing up, all that fun stuff. But for the sake of this conversation, why do you give a shit? Why would there be guilt? Because if you are saying, hey, you respect me, if you want to be around me, you need to respect me the same way I respect me. Do you not feel confident in that decision? Do you feel that you'll be judged by these people making that decision of the boundary? Like, hey, you can't call me a bitch any longer. Why would you give a shit about their take on your position? Why would you give a shit about them understanding you respecting yourself? Why would that matter? Because if you created but since you created this boundary, this is your boundary. It's like a boundary or a standard is in a relationship, you don't cheat on each other. That's like a given. Like pedophilia, it's not something we need to talk about. It's like, okay, well, check this out. One of the arrangement we're gonna have here is that we don't cheat on each other. It's like, it's a given. If you choose to be in a relationship, the honor code, the respect code, the love code, that kicks in automatically. That's not something that we need to discuss. Should we talk about like an open relationship, like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett? Like what? That can't even work. It doesn't compute inside of the bubble called relationship. So Lori, it comes back to you. It comes back to you not giving a shit, being so strong in you, in your decision, and your love for you. Nothing fucking matters. And I mean that. And I don't mean to become a bitch because, I'm not saying to do this egotistically. I'm saying to do it lovingly, because now that you love yourself, that's the protective mechanism. So if somebody, when you lay out the boundary, like, hey, you can't do that anymore, not around me. I love you, but this is not acceptable any longer. And you got to stay so strong in that position. Nothing can ever touch you. Therefore, guilt can never come in. But when you're insecure in your decision, that's when guilt, past, all this shit starts eating at you because you're not in a strong, powerful position. So the way to get there is to really understand your love for yourself, grow on, work on your confidence, your self-esteem, the respect for yourself, and everything you want will come from that automatically, because you're going to get to a point, it's like, these are my rules. And you either play by my rules or you just can't be around me because I have rules called respect. And if you can't respect me, fuck off. And it's really that simple. So when you get to that place, it's so freeing. It is so freeing, because right now, Lori, the shit that you're carrying every single day, the stuff that you're feeling and walking around life with these bags of pains and emotions and that person and what she said and what, fuck, I mean, think about it, right? But meanwhile, with all that shit, you're trying to, create in this world, and I don't know what you do, but have a job and have kids and take care of everybody and keep everybody happy and cook dinner, but meanwhile, you got this baggage. So a question for everybody, imagine if you didn't have any baggage. Imagine if that baggage was gone. Remember, the experience that created the baggage can never be gone. That's going to be there. Us choosing to focus on it is up to us. That means that we can replace, from a perspective position, we can replace that thing in the past that was bad with so good, with such gratitude, with amazing opportunity for growth, and etc. So that's a much deeper conversation. Many exercises take place there. But I hope I answered that question, and this goes deep and deep, and we can talk about this for hours, because it's obviously I don't know if it's an ending issue. I think it's a never-ending issue. So I hope I answered that for you, Lori. Let's see here. Tasha Chapman, I know you have a question. Tasha, you asked a question before the show regarding relationships, divorce, and you're piggybacking that question from a previous topic/comment I made, that I don't believe in divorce. And I'm going to sort of explain my position first as to why I don't believe in divorce, and then I will answer your specific question, because your question is specific. So the concept of divorce, it has become this sort of trendy thing to do, just like marriage is trendy nowadays. Like, oh my God, people get emotional and I've got to have this wedding. Like, we just went to a wedding, not this last Tuesday, the one before. We were in Temecula, California. Beautiful wedding. And I'm not talking shit about the wedding. It was my niece, beautiful, but everything was amazing. But the problem, what we're talking about in the divorce world, is that when two people get together, it's like, oh, bliss, bliss, happy, happy. That's why they call it a honeymoon, because it's sweet in the beginning, but then that dies away because that thing that the people came together for in the beginning gets lost, because as soon as we transition into that thing where we become one and it's so wonderful, the blueprint kicks in, and now I have to get you to start doing things my way so it makes sense to my blueprint. Again, much deeper conversation. So because it's become this trendy thing to just be able to throw a marriage away, oh, she doesn't understand me, she doesn't love me anymore, I don't love her anymore. What the fuck does that mean? Well, we fell out of love. Well, because you stopped doing the fucking work. Just like everything we talked about today, you got to build a muscle. Fixing you, working on you, growing you takes time. Everything takes time. So what happens in a marriage is, number one, we're looking to change the other person, and that's the evil in itself. I think my snippet today that went out into the social media world was about divorce. Can you imagine this really quickly? And just as a topic, and then I'll get specifically to your question. What does love really mean? So when we get into a relationship and it's like, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I love you so much. You're the love of my life. We've all had those moments. Can you imagine if the relationship could have stayed there all these years, 5 years, 10, 20, 50, whatever. What if it stayed in that box? And what I mean by that box, I'm not saying not to grow as a couple. What I'm being specific at is, what does love really mean? Love is not having any boundaries. Going back to Lori's concept of boundaries. Love doesn't have boundaries. It has respect. It doesn't have boundaries. Which means that if I love you, and this is something to this day, I'm learning with Tammy. Because I come from my past and I have my shit. And even though I'm a coach, I learn every fucking day. Do not think I'm like this, I walk on water type of thing. Every single day I'm at this, just like everybody else. I've just been longer at this, and I chose somehow along the way to become a coach and speaker and all that fun shit. But my point to you guys is, can you imagine just simply loving someone, truly loving someone, and what does love really mean? Love means what? What does it mean to you? And this is now a little bit of work for you to do. What does love really mean? To really love somebody at the core, what does that really, really mean? How would that look like if you truly loved that person? Would you still want to change that person? If you just fucking just loved everything about him, truly, at the core, would you still need to change that person? And the answer is no. And this is exactly the magic. If we could love, that means we allow that person to be free. We would accept who that person is. So if I can accept exactly 100% who Tammy is at all fucking times, why would it be my job to change her? When we met, this was her. When you met your spouse, your whatever business partner, that was them. They didn't come into your life saying, oh my God, thank God I finally found you because I need to get changed. I need you to change me. Hurry up. No one said that ever. Everybody wants to be loved, liked, appreciated, honored, respected, right? So do you. So love is freedom. Love is letting go. Let go, let God. That's all that means. Let go, let God. Let go, let love. Right? All right. With that said, I'm going to talk about the question that Helen, you're saying to accept them. Absolutely, you are correct. So Tasha, you're saying acceptance of their good and bad, but I still think there are exceptions when it becomes a harmful situation. So I don't have Tasha's specific question in front of me because I'm on my phone. I understand. So this is Tasha saying, I understand your stance on relationship / marriage / divorce, but when the relationship consists of abuse, be it physical, verbal, or mental, does that change things? So I will talk about that, because when it becomes physical, you're out. Like there should never be a conversation or a question like, did he or she hit me because... No. Get the fuck out. Like, for example, a partner who was raised by a family of very strong women who treat men like they are beneath them. So then the relationship turns verbally, mentally, and a handful of times physically abusive towards because they won't bend. Yes, there are some times that make it more complicated, but ultimately, is that really the best situation to stay in? Can a relationship really overcome this if one side is very set in their ways? Okay, so I do want to break down, yes, I don't believe in divorce because I do believe that there is a way, and I've saved or helped a lot of people stay together, saved marriages, etc. Thank you, Tasha. I see that. I see you added it now. So the two people coming together, there is a way to bring the love back. The thing that you had when you first met, there's a way to get back there and stay there and then grow upon that. There's a way. I don't care what you've been through. Now, I do want to say this. If there's been violence, physical violence, it takes two to tango, and here's the problem. If somebody hits you, the only way they can hit you is because you're choosing to be in the way of their fist. And I know this might be harsh. Well, no, because I didn't see it coming. Okay, the first time. Second time? What happened the second time? Oh, you justified the first time? Ah, got it. And the third time, what happened? Oh, got it. You justify the second and the first time because they'll never do it again. And listen to me. Abuse is evil, just straight fucking evil. So there are levels of abuse where that should not be tolerated. Physical abuse, get out. Simply get out. If you choose to stay there, that's on you. Don't complain about it. There's no therapy in the world that's going to help you stay or justify why you stay where you're getting your ass kicked. That's a deep level of therapy that's going to help you get out of the relationship, but why you are there and accepting that behavior onto your body that God created, holy shit. So that's the physical part. So I don't know if we're talking about physical abuse here. I don't know who we're talking about. I know Tasha's asking the question. I don't know who we're talking about. But to have a very general blanket type of answer, it goes like this. Physical, no fucking way. Verbal abuse. Verbal abuse comes from the person that does the verbal abuse is in a very negative state. That's a very angry human being that has to spread the poison. So, you know, misery loves company. It really does. Low vibrations require low vibrations. They feed. It's like looshing, the concept of looshing. We feed on lower energies, on the hell, right? So any human being that's obviously physical, that's out. If they're verbally abusive, putting somebody down, and again, there are levels like, oh, you're stupid. Okay, that's one level of abuse. You're a fucking, sorry, but I'm gonna go there. You're a fucking cunt. You're a horrible piece of shit. You should have never been born. Whoa. Different level conversation. You're stupid. You are these horrible things. Okay, so now we're having a different conversation about the level of abuse. The only reason we accept abuse of any type, of any kind, is because, going back to Lori's question in the beginning, is that we don't know who the fuck we are yet. As long as you don't know who you are, and you are not what's called self-aware, to know who you are, your power, your love for yourself, what your standards are, what you allow, what you'll accept, as long as you don't have those things, guess what? It's open doors. Fuck me up. Yep, come get me. It's just this open universal thing where you're allowing whatever is out there to come in, to enter your realm, if you will. So picking you up again, making you the badass, making you strong, in that journey, nobody will ever be able to touch you again. And when I say touch, I'm talking physical, I'm talking verbal, I'm talking mental, I'm talking all of it. The only thing we as human beings should be open for is love. Nothing else. How rude for another human being to fuck up another human being. For me, I despise boxing, I despise MMA, I despise all that shit's like hurting another human being. This temple that God created, we're gonna go hit that. What the, right? It just does, to me, it doesn't compute. But people pay millions of dollars. Oh my God, you know, this person won. And it's like, nah, but he broke his jaw. And anyway, doesn't matter. But it's the same here. It's the same concept. And only that's accepted and we pay for it. And here it's not okay because, you know, it's not a controlled environment. So Tasha, bottom line is there are rules to everything. You know, obviously we can have a deeper conversation around this. Did you say who it is? I saw something. This person isn't actually married. It doesn't matter. They still met. So when I say, for example, we're saying marriage, when two people come together, at that moment when they met, we have to make a decision that I love you. When we say, oh my God, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, or you know, let's have kids, or let's go travel the world, or you meet a business partner, let's do business together. At that moment, when that initial spark happened, you need to accept that person for exactly who they are. And then you say, well, but what if they don't want to grow? But remember, you love them the way they were. So if they don't want to grow, that means that you're looking to change them. You're expecting for them to grow, and all of a sudden, you're not getting what you want, and therefore that means that you don't love them the way you used to. So you're not setting them free, because love and truth will set you free. So that's a fuckery. It's a little circle that we put ourselves in. And it's like, oh my God, I'm not happy anymore. I used to be happy with my spouse. I used to be happy with this, but everything changed. She became a grump old man. She became a bitch. She just nags all day. And it's like, so we take on these rhetorics and these theories that society feeds us. So, well, my God, is society good at this bullshit? And then we become those things. And that's the funky dory. We become the things that we're around. Can you tell me this person that you're talking about if I've met them? Because I think I have. I'm assuming I'm not to use names or who, but did I chat with this person already? To know that we're talking. Yes, got it. I can't talk about that here because of obviously client privilege. Is that still happening? Well, obviously, because it doesn't fix that quick. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but the anger of that position is angry. And, yep, fixable, very fixable. But just like everything we're talking about, it takes freaking time. The boot camp would do magic. Or anything like that. I mean, it's once a person is ready to grow, change, get rid of shit, become a better human being, treat others with respect, love, etc., then you start doing something the fuck about it. When you do nothing, people think, oh, I'll leave it alone and it'll just, it'll resolve itself. No. This world is either up or down. Nothing ever stagnates. Only stagnation happens when we die. Stagnation equals death. Otherwise, it goes up, you do something, it gets better, or you do nothing, and it gets worse. But see, I was not aware, got it, so I got to go back. So I was not aware of the physical, and I pushed for that to see if there was physical, and I was told no. So again, I don't want to go deep into this, but if there's physical, that's a different level. So maybe there was untruth that happened. We'll find out. So what happens if you meet at a lesser level, you grow, but they don't, or not at the same rate? Love is fucking love. And here's what happens. The ego kicks in and says, well, I'm growing. You're not. And because I'm growing and you're not, that means that I'm better than you. So, Joanna, I'm not saying you're saying this, but this is what happens. So if I'm better than you because I'm growing, fuck. I mean, I'm fucking annoyed. You're not doing shit my way. You're not reading that book. You're not listening to Tony Robbins. You're not jumping on Andre's Q&As. You're not doing shit, but I am. Look at me. But that's ego. So here's what happens. A few things. One, we cannot tell people what to do. And we cannot expect people to do shit. They're going to do what they want to do, their level, etc. So if you tell somebody, you better fucking grow, you better do that thing, they're going to resist, right? They're going to push back, and it's going to get worse between you. If you truly are growing, and I'm not saying this is you, Joanne, I'm just, again, you asked a question, I'm answering it. But if you're actually growing in love, in you, in respect, in honor, and all that fun, beautiful shit, wouldn't you accept that person even more at this point? You see my point? Of course, hypothetical. So if your love and acceptance of the world and peacefulness grew in your growing journey, wouldn't you be accepting that person even more? And because you would love the person that you met back then even more. You would find more things to say, holy shit, that fucker's amazing. Whatever. I'm not saying his name is fucker, but it could be. So I think judgment kicks in, and as soon as you know that judgment kicks in or any negativity kicks in, please understand it's the ego. It's not love. It's not the heart center. It's not the subconscious mind. When the conscious mind does the work and it's ego-based, fear-based, it's judgmental, and you're now allowing that person to control you because they're just fucking fine. But you now go into this bullshit of, well, fuck, I'm growing, I'm doing this, I'm going to the boot camp. He's not going to the boot camp, she's not going to the boot camp, but I am. Look at me, I'm growing. Oh, he's never gonna grow. Now, with all that said, if they treat you in a negative way, that's going back to Lori's initial question. You got to set up standards, boundaries, because you're growing. So you're now going to set up these boundaries that are based on self-love and self-protection and self-worth, right? All this fun stuff. So if there is abuse that has been there since day one, because remember, you still got to respect who you met. Because you still met them, you still fell in love. And you're growing. And here's the other thing that happens is you're growing. If you just do you, boo-boo, meaning do you grow, be happy, lead by fucking example. Listen, nobody can be around a happy, truly happy, smiling, in a good mood human being all day and not follow them eventually. It is not physically possible. They can only be miserable so long. We can only eat shit so fucking long. If that person over there is eating this freaking beautiful chocolate fondue with raspberries and homemade blah, 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 I can only eat shit so long before I say, damn, that looks good. Holy mom, oh, and it's organic? Woo-wee. You see my point? Lead by example. But if you're eating that beautiful fondue, raspberries, organic from the California coast, whatever, and you keep telling the person, you're eating shit. How's the shit? Your shit smells. Shit's not good for you. Make sure you wipe your mouth after you eat shit and you stick it down their throat and you're stabbing and stabbing. Guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna build up resentment. Fuck you, you think you're better than me. Fuck you, and you're gonna close them even more.